Good evening, San Bernardino. Thank you guys so much for joining tonight's live. We'll make sure that we are up and running and everybody can see us as we have a new discussion on Prop 36. And then you guys have been asking how the campaign's going, so we'll talk about that at the end. So, okay, cool. All right. So as you guys know, it is election time and there's a lot going on. So one of the questions that I have been getting while I'm out talking to residents is about the propositions and specifically Prop 36. So I really just wanted to go over what the components are of Prop 36 and then tell you where I am with this issue. So, okay, let's jump in real quick. All right, so the information that I'm going to share with you guys tonight is all from the voter guide. So this is all online through the state of California, where they send us this information. So what I have, you can as easily access. I just cut and pasted. So Prop 36 allows felony charges and increased sentences for certain drug and theft crimes. And so the background is the punishment depends on the seriousness of the crime and criminal history. Punishment for felonies. A felony is the most serious type of crime. People could be sentenced to county jail or state prison for felonies depending on the crime and their criminal history. In some cases, people can be supervised in the community by a county probation officer instead of serving time, or all their sentence in jail or prison. This is called county community supervision. The length of a sentence mostly depends on the crime. For example, murder can be punished by 15 years or more in prison. In contrast, selling drugs can be punished by up to 5 years in jail or prison, depending on the drug. Sentences can be lengthened due to details of the crime. For example, sentences of selling certain drugs such as fentanyl, heroin, cocaine, or methamphetamine can be lengthened based on the amount sold. And then punishment for misdemeanors. A misdemeanor is a less serious crime. Examples include assault and drug possession. People can be sentenced to county jail, county community supervision, and or a fine for a misdemeanor. And Proposition 47, which you guys remember, reduced punishments for some theft and drug crimes. In 2024, Proposition 47 changed some theft and drug crimes from felonies down to misdemeanors. For example, shoplifting, stealing items worth $950 or less from a store, and drug possession generally became misdemeanors. So that's the essence of the background there. All right, so what Prop 36 is proposing is the Proposition 36 makes several key changes related to punishments for theft and drug crimes. First, it increases the punishment for some of these crimes. And second, it creates a new treatment-focused court process for some drug possession crimes. Third, it requires courts to warn people convicted of selling or providing illegal drugs to others that they can be charged with murder if they keep doing so and if someone dies. It increases punishment for some theft and some drugs. So it turns some misdemeanors into felonies, where Prop 47 turns some felonies into misdemeanors. So it's going to reverse that. For example, currently theft of an item worth $950 or less is generally a misdemeanor. Prop 36 makes this crime a felony if the person has 2 or more past convictions for certain theft crimes, such as shoplifting, burglary, or carjacking. The sentence would be up to 3 years in county jail or state prison. These changes undo some of the punishment reductions in Prop 47. The length of some felony sentences, for example, Prop 36 allows felony sentences for theft or damage of property to be lengthened up to 3 years if 3 or more people committed the crime together. So 3 people conspire and carry out as accessories to this, then they can have more time in jail. And then requires some felonies to be served in prison. For example, as discussed above, the sentences for selling certain drugs such as fentanyl, heroin, cocaine, or methamphetamine can be lengthened based on the amount sold. And currently, these sentences are served in county jail or state prison, depending on the person's criminal history. Prop 36 generally requires these sentences to be served in prison. So we were talking lengthier sentences, higher sentencing from misdemeanors now categorized as felonies, and then depending on the seriousness or the type of drug, then they could be in prison instead of county or state jail. So what this does in 36, it creates new court processes for some drug possession crimes. So Prop 36 allows people who possess illegal drugs to be charged with a treatment mandated felony instead of a misdemeanor. In some cases, specifically, this applies to people who possess certain drugs such as fentanyl, heroin, cocaine, or methamphetamine, and have 2 or more past convictions for drug crimes, such as possession or selling drugs. So really, this is, as we're looking at it, hitting the repeat offenders that have had prior convictions, prior sentencing with the most high-level drug crimes or drugs, fentanyl, heroin, meth, and cocaine. So these people would generally get treatment such as mental health or drug treatment. Those who finish treatment would have their charges dismissed. Those who do not finish treatment could serve up to 3 years in state prison. This change undoes some of the punishment reductions in Proposition 47. And then it requires warning of possible murder charges for the selling or providing of drugs. So Prop 36 requires courts to warn people that they could be charged with murder if they sell or provide illegal drugs that kill someone. This warning would be given to people convicted of selling or providing certain drugs such as fentanyl, heroin, cocaine, and methamphetamine. This could make it more likely for them to be convicted of murder if they sell or provide illegal drugs to someone who dies. Now, this is a really big thing because right now, the conversation around this after effect, like what's the consequence of the dealer, has been on the forefront, especially with the movement of one pill can kill and the effects and very lethal effects of a very small amount of fentanyl that can be laced or just taken. So what this is doing, in essence, is holding people accountable for the sale of these drugs. Okay. All right. So fiscal effects, always important. So Proposition 36 would have various fiscal effects on the state and local governments. The size of these effects would depend on uncertain factors such as what decisions local prosecutors would make. So there's no set budget, but this is going to have an impact fiscally. So this will increase state criminal justice costs. Prop 36 would increase state criminal justice costs in 2 main ways. It would increase the state prison population. It would require some people who now serve their sentence at the county level to serve them in state prison. Also, it lengthens some prison sentences. In total, the prison population would increase around a few thousand. There are about 90,000 people in prison now. So it could go anywhere from 90,000 to 100,000 people. And then it would also increase state court workload. This is because felonies usually take more time to resolve than misdemeanors. Also, mandated felonies would increase court workload. So more alternatives than jail require more people to do the work. In total, Proposition 36 would increase state criminal justice costs, likely ranging from several tens of millions of dollars to the low hundreds of millions of dollars each year annually. This amount is less than 1/2 of 1% of the state's total general fund budget. The general fund is the account the state uses to pay for most public services, including education, healthcare, and prisons, because there's that whole pipeline. Increases local criminal justice costs. So Prop 36 would increase local criminal justice costs in two main ways. So this is here. Net increase in county jail and community service population. In some ways, Prop 36 would reduce the jail and community service population. This is because some people would go to state prison instead of the county level. In other ways, it would increase this population. This is because some people would spend more time in county jail or on community supervision. Overall, Prop 36 likely would increase the county population. This increase could be around a few thousand people. There are about 250,000 people at the county level right now. This would also increase the local court-related workload. It would for local prosecutors and public defenders. This is because felonies usually take more time to resolve than misdemeanors. And also treatment mandated felonies would create workload for some county agencies such as probation or behavioral health departments. In total, Prop 36 would increase local criminal justice costs likely by tens of millions of dollars annually. This reduces amount state must spend on certain services. So Proposition 47 that was passed in 2014 created a process in which the estimated state saving from its punishment reductions would be spent on mental health and drug treatments, school truancy and dropout prevention, and victim services. These estimated savings totaled $95 million last year. By undoing parts of Prop 47, Proposition 36 reduces the state's savings from Prop 47. This would reduce the amount the state must spend on mental health and drug treatment, school truancy, and dropout prevention, and victim services. This reduction likely would be in the low tens of millions of dollars annually. Okay, so in looking at all of this, what for me in this analysis and assessment of it all is there is a lot going on in our community, in our communities, collectively, that have been a backlash in my eyes of the passing of Prop 47 before. And what I have seen in the creation of Prop 36 and what's happening in our city is this is a chance to really reevaluate, this idea of crime and punishment and community public safety. One of the things that is very important to me, as you know, I run for office as a resident of the city of San Bernardino, as an educator, is that we feel safe and heard. And we know that our current chief, Chief Goodman, has done an exemplary job of fighting for our community to discuss the side effects of policymaking in Sacramento versus the local control of policing. And I want to repeat that because policing is a local issue. Our police department is run through the municipal governments or through the county. But what we've seen happen for many years is that legislators in Sacramento make huge policy decisions that then not trickle, but ram down the throats of local departments and local municipalities to have to figure out how to operate with tighter restrictions and less avenues. And what I want to ensure is that whenever something is proposed, like Prop 47 was or Prop 36 is now, that the city of San Bernardino is at the table. We know that Chief Goodman is there because that's, we've watched the videos, and but he alone cannot do it all. And that's really what has happened in our city, is that our advocate has been our chief, where our council has remained silent on these issues, pro or con, for whatever. We don't speak. the city of San Bernardino does not speak on these issues that are so vitally important to the delivery of services every single day. And this is why I wanted to look at 36, because I'm a big proponent of making sure that people are provided treatment for mental illness and drug addiction. Now, while this truly is more focused towards the drug addiction side, what we know is that people on the streets who are mentally ill tend to self-medicate with different street drugs. And these are really addressing the worst of the worst. This isn't an attack on marijuana. This is looking at fentanyl, cocaine, heroin, and methamphetamine, which will run rampant, as we all know. And also looking at this from the perspective of justice in and of itself. When we look at things historically, and we look at the legislation, the institution of crime and jail systems, it's undeniable to me that there is not a historical disparity among minorities, among impoverished people. I absolutely accept those notions. What I do not accept is that in order to heal the traumas of the past, in order to correct the institutional wrongs, that we then negate all punishment or discipline or a social contract amongst ourselves to live in a society of law and order. And what I saw the effects over the last decade with Prop 47 is that it didn't work. That what I think people proposed and thought, as we let people out of jail for lesser crimes, quote unquote, as we raise the limit of what it takes to qualify for a felony, that we saw a lot of problems where people just looted stores. They ran in, grabbed and dashed. And we look at the on and offsets of this, the cost, always the cost, because being fiscally minded is extremely important. But at the same time, when we look at the increased cost to now it's going to be the prison budgets, as we saw the reduction of having to close prisons and lay off people. We also saw a huge fiscal impact in the economy and in local businesses being able to stay open and maintain themselves in quite an era where they could lose all of their merchandise and have no recourse other than watching someone get stopped and issued a ticket. We watched our local services through our police department, where here we are running short in our city specifically, at least down 100 officers, go and get the bad guy, drop them off to be processed, and by the time they get back to headquarters downtown, these people are back on the streets and constant repeat offending. And I think all of these things are so vitally important for us to look at the totality of everything that we're trying to do as a city, as a police department, and as a community. Where do our interests truly lie? And in looking at all of this and reading this and seeing the impacts, this was why I am such a proponent for 36 as part of my plan that I want to bring forward as the next council person of the 7th Ward. It is to secure beds at Patton State Hospital. What I see is that these billions of dollars that we have invested nationally towards homelessness in the state, these tens of millions of dollars that we have invested towards reforming and putting people a treatment instead of incarceration, right? That we need to start utilizing these funds. We understand that offering treatment or jail, that means that we need to put these mechanisms in place. Patton State Hospital is our place, and working in conjunction with the County of San Bernardino through their expansion of behavioral health through this initiative, and working with the state of California to then say, look, this is the perfect opportunity with this campus to put a treatment facility. And it's literally a state hospital. It's guarded already. We can now put more people to work. And what I see is an expansion of the criminal justice system where we're going to need more prison guards. And I believe that people who do, who break the law and commit these acts or kill people through the selling of harmful drugs deserve to be punished in accordance with the law. Because that's the purpose of all of these things. And this is what 36 is going to give us an opportunity to do. I was the sole advocate in our city for the county of San Bernardino to adopt Laura's Law, which it only further empowers our police department to work with the mentally ill, establish good policies and guidelines so that we can also focus on acute outpatient treatment facilities for those who don't elevate all the way to incarceration or are not on the repeat offender list. What we don't want to see is people keep getting arrested for these crimes. We know that mental illness is a huge issue, but it is not an excuse. Not everybody that is out here breaking the law is mentally ill. In fact, what we see is that the lack of laws, the lack of regulations, as people call it, the stick versus carrot, the lack of sticks is allowing people to feel empowered to do whatever they like, regardless of the impact on the community around them. And I don't stand for that. I think that it is a cop-out. I don't care where you're from or your circumstances. It's not an excuse. Being poor is not an excuse to break the law. And I think it's an injustice to people who grew up in poverty and never stole a thing in their life. I think that using any type of race as an excuse is a disservice to anybody who is of any particular race who did not resort to stealing or theft or crime to get to where they are in life. So we need to make sure that we focus on the good versus the bad, accountability versus a free-for-all. And that, to me, in my opinion, is how we're going to be able to win, not a war, but win for our community as a whole. So in my humble opinion, if however you feel on it, I am in support of Proposition 36. I think it meets where the rubber meets the road and what we need to do for good reform and building back to a lawful society that I feel has slipped away from us. And that I think Sacramento now, with the work of many, is hearing people that this didn't work, and it is okay for things not to work and to be readjusted. That is the whole purpose of analyzing and implementing, repeating, researching everything. It's a continual cycle, and public policy of all things, laws should always be up for evaluation and analysis to see how they're ebbing and flowing throughout society, because what we've seen in a decade is a societal shift. And now the state of California, as I believe it, is looking to shift in another direction on how we handle theft over $950, over people who sell, use, or buy fentanyl, cocaine, methamphetamine, how we approach people in the court system through mental illness or with mental illnesses, and all of these things. So for what it's worth, guys, here's where I stand, and I truly appreciate everything that Chief Goodman has done. I know that we don't always see everything that goes on, but from what I hear up and down the state of California, he's truly our advocate on these issues. And what I want to make sure is that when he comes home, that there is a council person on the dais who has an opinion, who will stand or vocalize in whatever way a conversation, foster at least, the very least, a conversation on these important things that get passed down to us. So, okay, here we go. So that's it. That was Prop 36. And then you guys wanted to know how the campaign was going. Well, I asked my team put some stuff together, words, and here's what we came up with. Just straight out the gate, the level of positive energy is like just the fuel behind us. It is so refreshing to talk to people who know what's going on, just are like, hey, we got this. I've already voted for you, and this is amazing, and I can't wait. And community, 7th Ward, I mean, all community, I have people from all around the city out here walking, knocking, calling. You guys are amazing. And this is where the power to know that we're not going to go backwards comes from. And today, I loved it. I had a community member reach out, because, you know, there's a lot going on, and they were like, we've been getting mailers, and here's what we know is that we have been prepared for this test. And what is shared is that no longer can someone just hand you information in this city and speak to it like it's the gospel. Because for those of you that have been following along for the last 5 years, you are so engaged, so educated, and so empowered. And that means that people just can't lie to you, that they just can't hand feed you what they want to feed you anymore. And that is so impressive to me. I can't tell you that that this has made it all worth it. So the campaign is going great. We are just out surrounded by you. You guys keep me driving every day to do more. I mean, we've talked to thousands upon thousands of residents in the 7th Ward. And it's truly an honor and very, very cool to be, you know, preparing to be your next council person of the 7th Ward. And so for anybody that has not come out or has not had an opportunity to talk, I am hosting well, actually my neighbors are hosting a meet and greet at their house for me to come. And we're also going to be doing a voter registration drive. So if you're not registered to vote, come out this Sunday, October 20th, between 4 and 6 p.m. to 448 West Marshall Boulevard. So that's on the corner basically of Stoddard and Marshall. And this will be a great opportunity. Come and ask your questions. If you haven't already registered, we will register you online, or you can register, fill out a card, we'll mail it. And just be involved. Like, your vote truly matters. And even more so, your voice, how you feel about things. The goal is not for us to have to agree on 100% of all issues. The goal is the engagement, for you to tell me how you feel, for me to be able to express why I feel the way I feel, and then for us to find that commonality in the middle. And for you to always feel like you're represented, because when I'm up there on the dais as the 7th Ward City Council woman, you're right there with me. And that is exactly how I will be operating for the next 4 years as your elected representative. So thank you guys always for your continued support. We are not going back, because truly the future is ours. And you guys continue to show me that every single day in all of your message and your sending your ballots and everything that you do. It's truly an honor, and I'm very blessed. So thank you guys. I hope I can see you all next Sunday. And if you have any comments, hi Tim, hi Keith, thank you guys so much for joining. And I will talk to you all later. Have a great rest of your week. San Bernardino.